This is StarMaster, Activision's response to Star Raiders, a popular Atari game at the time. It's a first-person space combat game with a pretty heavy dose of strategy involved. I was going to review Top Gun on the NES, which is actually plays a bit similar, but I had just gotten done slamming gods and felt like I should do a positive review, not a negative one. So without any further introduction, let's see what this game is all about. Okay, so it's loud and it's flashy, but there's a lot more to this game than it might initially appear. In the game you're watching here, I've gotten my lasers and shields damaged, that you can see at the very bottom of the screen, and I'm going to attempt to warp out using my map mode. But an asteroid hit me, and that's game over. So there's a bit going on here, besides the basic just shooting. A lot of the gameplay is actually managing your spaceship, by which I mean every time you shoot it costs energy. That's what the E is. When you warp out, it costs energy. It costs more if you're damaged. And you can refuel at star bases, but these star bases can be destroyed if they're surrounded by enemies, so you have to protect them to win the game, so you have a pit stop. So there's a bit to it. So if you know Star Raiders, there's a lot in common here. You know, these are both games about space combat. We have the galactic map where you can zoom to different sectors and you have to protect star bases. One big difference is you don't need a video touchpad peripheral to play this game. You get to the galactic map by flipping the difficulty switch on your console, which is actually really handy. And I'm going to attempt to refuel my ship here, and you can repair damage this way too. When you choose to warp, there are considerations like distance. You know, you don't want to use too much fuel, so you want to plan the best route, and you know which space station is actually under attack. And when the game starts out on the first few difficulty settings is actually pretty easy, and as you play different, higher levels, the game gets very, very challenging. I'll show you a game on StarMaster mode later. I think I'm playing on the second or third difficulty here. By the way, the different color flashes indicate if you've gotten hit or destroyed the incoming shot. I mentioned that the game has a damage model, so you know you can get your lasers damaged, you can get your shields destroyed, and the next shot will kill you if that happens. You can get your warp engines damaged so that you'll use more energy when warping. You can get your radar destroyed so you can't see where enemy fighters are until you refuel and get repaired. Pretty complicated stuff for a 1982 console game. And if you know Robot Tank again, it's pretty similar. And the combat's similar too, where if you don't see a shot on the screen, you can't be hit by it. So when you see shots being fired or asteroids, you have to make a quick decision. Do you steer out of the way and scroll it off the screen, or do you attack it? You know, can you hit it in time? So there's a lot of split-second judgment calls that have to be made. Here I am going after the last enemy on this map. And that's game over. I win, and what you do is you hit the map toggle to see how you did. You get a summary of how many bases survived, and all that good stuff. You actually get penalized for taking time, docking at star bases and having to get repairs, and you get docked major points for star bases getting blown away by the enemy. So you gotta protect those. So you can always replay the game and try for a better score, like many Atari games. And that was the replay factor of old video games, was that you could always do just a little bit better. I gotta give a shout out to my buddy Aaron for turning me on to this game. You know, I played it a little bit and I kind of dismissed it as, okay, it's a weak Star Raiders clone. It's a Star Raiders clone, but there's so much good about it that I think now that, I've played it a bit, I actually prefer it. In this one specifically, see how close to the edge you can push your energy meter before you have to refuel. Here you see me playing on StarMaster mode. This is the hardest mode in the game. Enemies are faster, they fire, quicker. I think you use more energy when you warp. It's really, really tough. And that's really good to see because so many Atari games on the 2600 are, in my opinion, way too easy, especially for a seasoned arcade gamer. Back when I was a kid, they posed a significant challenge, but a lot of them now I can just, play them forever, it seems sometimes. So when there's an Atari game that actually poses a challenge, it's really refreshing. And in addition, I think the gameplay of this, just the basic arcade game mechanics, compare very well to similar games. I think I prefer the combat in this to Solaris, a much later, much more stylish and graphically and tactically advanced game. That one has kind of a pseudo third-person perspective that I think is a bit confusing. This is a bit easier to follow. 1 point for StarMaster. There's also the damage model that I don't recall Solaris having. So what I'm saying is that StarMaster, as primitive as it is, does things that later games don't do. I think it actually has more complexity than something like Top Gun. There you go. I just got my clock cleaned. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.